I am really excited for our next guest. This is Brian Rowe. He has an excellent YouTube channel called The Awards Contender, where he, all the way back to right after the last Academy Awards ended, he's already starting to predict what's going to happen the following year. So it's pretty much the Oscars and all the other awards all year round. I want to start by saying I'm extremely jealous because can you tell us where you are right now?
I just arrived at the Sundance Film Festival about an hour ago.
And have you seen anything yet at Sundance that you think might be a contender for 2026?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean obviously I've gone through, the list of films and I think Kiss of the Spider Woman, directed by Bill Condon, that's like the real like hot ticket film here. I still have not secured a ticket to yet, but I feel like if that's really good, that could be an awards contender for sure. But I remember seeing Past Lives here 2 years ago when that movie came out of nowhere and was amazing. And then that went on to be a Best Picture nominee. So you never really know. Sometimes a movie can sneak up on you at Sundance.
Yeah, so it could really be as early as January. I want to start by asking you, I want to bring up a name to you, Demi Moore. Um,
Yes.
I know you were championing her all award season, and it seemed like it was a very kind of or it was an unusual choice for the Oscars. They don't usually go for the horror kind of movie. This was an extremely kind of like gory body horror type movie. I mean, what do you make of Demi Moore, her performance this award season, and The Substance, making it this far into Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, and a few technical categories as well?
Yeah, it is wild. I saw The Substance in September, loved it, one of my favorite movies of the year. And I'm like, outside of makeup, I don't see that being like a major Oscar contender because year to year, they always break my heart. Anything that's like, veering toward horror and, especially like the last 30 minutes of The Substance, I'm like, yeah, they're not going to go for that. And it has been such a joy the last few weeks seeing Demi Moore get in everywhere, win the Globe, and you could say right now at least she's the front runner to win the Oscar, and that for The Substance to get into director and picture as well. I'm like I don't really believe it still. Like, how did this happen? It's such a great film, but it is a kind of genre the Academy typically doesn't go for. I attribute it to it just being such a strong movie, and also because it's a film that's not trying to scare the viewer. It's not a chilling suspense thriller. It's more of a satire about like LA and Hollywood and stuff. I think that has helped The Substance, for Academy members to think of it as more than just, a horror film. The Substance is a medley of genres, and it does everything really well.
Yeah, and speaking of a medley of genres, it's also been a huge morning or day for Emilia Perez, securing 13 Oscar nominations, including Carla Sofia Gascon for Best Actress, the first openly trans person to be nominated for an Oscar. What do you attribute to how did Emilia Perez become such an awards contender this season?
There's a lot that goes into that film. I think, it being this really acclaimed international film that went to Netflix, so it was easily accessible there. I think that film winning Best Actress at Cannes last May for all four of its women, I think that made it stand out pretty early on. And yeah, it's not my favorite film of the year. I liked it. I don't understand the hate for it. I also don't understand 13 Oscar nominations. I'm kind of in the middle on that one. But I think, there's a lot to like about that movie and, people comparing it to Crash and things like, no, 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 no. Amelia Perez is much better than that. And like the performances in it are excellent. I'm really happy with those two acting nominations. But yeah, I think because it is so audacious and creative, an international production that everyone can watch on Netflix, I do think that's helped the movie a lot.
I'm also a little bit confused by the hate. I was wondering if you could talk about maybe a little bit about the makeup of the Academy, because I know that looking on apps like Letterboxd, looking on Rotten Tomatoes, the scores for Emilia Perez are relatively low. I think it has something like 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe like 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is on the lower end of the spectrum. So who is deciding what gets into the Oscars?
I mean, it's the industry. You have to be an Academy member. Many of those people work in the industry, or directors, cinematographers, producers, actors. Film critics and film Twitter are not choosing the Oscar nominations. So you might go on Twitter and see all of these people hating on Emilia Perez. Like they are not voting. Like you have to be an Academy member. So it's like the people who work in the industry, I think they're really vibing with that movie. They see how creative it is in a year where, there were some stale films here and there. Emilia Perez does stand out from the crowd. So I think industry people who are voting Academy members, they're seeing something special in that movie.
Yeah, and the one place where it missed, where I think some people were saying it might have gotten in, was Best Supporting Actress for Selena Gomez. It was almost going to be kind of like this Disney Channel reunion with Ariana Grande getting the nomination, and then Selena Gomez being in there. And I don't know what happened with one of my favorite films of the year, Challengers. It could have been Zendaya, also in that category. I mean, what do you make of Wicked's performance here at the Academy with Ariana Grande getting in, Cynthia Erivo? It was one of the highest-grossing films of the year. I think probably the highest-grossing movie nominated for an Oscar this year. What do you make of that film's performance here?
Yeah, so first of all, with Challengers, that was one of my favorite films of 2024, and that really hurt for that to get 0 nominations, including score. Like that was very disappointing. I just wanted to say that. When it comes to Wicked, I just think that is such a popular film. I knew opening night, like, okay, this is more than just an entertaining movie for families and things. This is a very, very good film, even though it's like part one of two. It feels pretty self-contained in a way, and there's just so much to love about those performances, especially. It does not surprise me that it got into picture, actress, supporting actress. Like once you see the movie, like you have to reward a lot that goes into the making of that film.
Yeah, and Ariana Grande was nominated alongside Isabella Rossellini, who, she's had a storied career, and I think she entered kind of like the Hollywood consciousness with Blue Velvet in 1986. So I can't help but think of David Lynch, who graduated from high school here in Alexandria, Virginia. When I think about her, but also obviously a very storied career. She has a pretty small performance in that movie. Ariana Grande, I almost felt like was almost in Wicked as much as Cynthia Erivo. How is a movie categorized as like supporting versus main? Like, how do they make that decision? Because it just seems like there's kind of like a runtime disparity when it comes to some of these performances.
Yeah, category fraud is something I talk about on my channel all the time. Basically, the team surrounding the person makes that call early on. Like, people representing people involved with the real pain could have submitted Kieran Culkin into lead actor. He is absolutely the lead of that movie. I mean, it's hard to justify that being supporting when he's in basically the whole thing. But yeah, sometimes it's about like, well, maybe this person can get nominated in lead, but they could potentially win in supporting. So, like, when it comes to the Oscars, they can decide, no, this person belongs in a different category, the way they did with Kate Winslet in The Reader, who got in almost everywhere in early 2009 in supporting actress, but then at the Oscars got into lead actress. So that does happen here and there. When it comes to like Ariana Grande, like, she couldn't compete with Cynthia Erivo in lead actress, like two people from the same movie getting into lead actress. The last time that happened was Thelma and Louise, 1991. So, like, you see this almost every year, two leads in a movie, one goes lead and one goes supporting. That's just how it works now. It is kind of refreshing to see Isabella Rossellini get supporting a very brief role. We don't see performances that small get in very often. So there's something I kind of like about that. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, I want to touch on a few more things about the acting categories. Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong, both who are on Succession, were both in supporting actor. I wonder if that like amused you at all, or if you found that interesting.
Oh yeah, I watched Succession. I watched Succession. It's fantastic. And going into the season, there was that like outside possibility. Could both of them get into supporting actor at the Oscars? Now, I can't be alone in like for months, I didn't think The Apprentice was going to be a thing, kind of a small distributor. It came and went in October. I wasn't really feeling like that movie could get into the Oscars, but it really did start picking up steam. Like once we got to like SAG and BAFTA, like for Jeremy Strong to get into both SAG and BAFTA, I was like, oh, okay, maybe he is getting the Oscar nomination. And then, yeah, it was kind of funny to see both Culkin and Strong get into supporting actor. Culkin beats him, I want to say, the last year for the Emmy. So then at the Oscars, Strong has to sit in his seat again and lose to Culkin because that's what's going to happen.
So, how did you get started um, on making a YouTube channel? You now have over 50,000 followers. How did you get started on making these predictions and making these prediction videos that we all love so much?
Yeah, so I've been a film lover my entire life. I had a podcast for a few years. I did that. I enjoyed that, but I thought, I have a background in editing. I went to Loyola Marymount Film School. So I had a film degree, and I thought, it'd be fun to make my own YouTube channel. What should be like the concept of it? It didn't feel right to just have it be just generally about movies and reviews. I was like, what could I bring to this that is not all over the place? I love the Oscars. What if I focused on awards and I could also talk about, films and reviews and things, but like have the main focus of my channel be awards? I launched it close to 4 years ago, 2021. I started, I want to say, the end of that year, November. And yeah, it's just been building over many years. I've put a lot of work into it. It's my full-time job now, and that's been really exciting. It's allowed me to go to film festivals. And like, I never would have thought, uploading a reaction video to Oscar nominations, getting like 50,000 views. It's kind of crazy, that people seem to care about, what I have to say about these things. But I think people notice like my passion. I really do love it. None of it's fake. I really do appreciate film and the awards conversation around cinema and how the Oscars like play a very important role, I still think to this day, when it comes to movies. So yeah, I love it, and I can't wait to see where this channel goes next.
Yeah, and how would you define that role in the film industry? I mean, why is it that the Academy Awards are this kind of like beacon as far as film, and why are they so storied?
Well, I think the big reason why the Oscars is really put on a pedestal is that it's like the oldest one. Like it launched in the late 1920s. It's been around for almost 100 years now. And, it's always been like, when it comes to cinema, like for any actor, any creator, behind the scenes person, the Oscar has always been like the absolute zenith of what you can achieve in the film industry. It's been that way for so many decades that, yes, we have the Globes and we have SAG and BAFTA and things. But I think because the Academy Awards goes back so deep into film history, and all of the movies we love, have come across the Oscars. You go back to, Casablanca and Gone with the Wind and the original All Quiet on the Western Front in 1930. Those films like got into the Oscars and won a bunch of prizes. So like basically as far back as movies go, you have the Oscars. And so yeah, it's just always been that very pivotal, important award show for cinema year to year.
Yeah, and I want to ask you two, I think, kind of difficult questions to conclude. So, out of the 10 movies that are nominated for Best Picture, which is your favorite? And which do you think is in the lead right now to win the prize in March?
Best Picture is it's not easy to predict right now. Like, last year we knew it was Oppenheimer basically after the nominations. Like that was kind of a given for the most part. This year, I could see 3 or 4 of those movies winning. My favorite is Anora. I have loved Anora since I saw it at the Toronto Film Festival. I've just been lifting up that movie and that Mikey Madison performance. I was surprised to see it not win a single prize at the Globes. That was weird. I'm hoping the Oscars come through for me. Like at least win, at least win original screenplay, please, for Sean Baker. In terms of what can win, I mean, Anora has a path. If it can win screenplay, if it can pull off a win for Mikey Madison, an actress or something, it's possible. Right now, I feel like the win is either The Brutalist or Emilia Perez, but it's tricky. I'm not even sure if Emilia Perez is going to win international feature over I'm Still Here, which is gaining in strength by the day. And I don't know, even though Emilia Perez got the most Oscar nominations, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that it wins Best Picture. I'm still feeling The Brutalist. That's where I am right now. I think that's one of the most stunning works of art of 2024, and it won drama at the Globes. And so we'll see what happens in the next couple precursors. Right now, at this moment, I still think it's The Brutalist to win.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time, Mr. Brian Rowe. Is there anything else? Is there any last minute pleas you want to make to the Academy or anything you'd like to tell us?
My plea is like, let's have the substance, win something. Like, don't like these nominations are great. Let's have it win at least something. I think Demi Moore looks like the likeliest in Best Actress, but like, what if it could also win like original screenplay or something? That would be awesome. But yeah, like this has been such a thrill to talk to you. What a day it's been, finally after months of analysis and thinking about it, predicting like to finally get the Oscar nominations today. What a thrill it was. And for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the nominations.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a thrilling award season. I really appreciate it, Brian, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for
All
having
right.
me.
Enjoy Sundance.
Thank you so much.